All right, let's dive deep inside the human body. We're going to explore two absolutely incredible systems that work together as the ultimate logistics network: your blood circulation and your lymphatic system.
But let's kick things off with a bit of a mystery. Get this. Every single day, your massive network of blood vessels leaks about 3 liters of fluid out into your tissues. We're talking more than a giant bottle of soda. Now, if that fluid just stayed there, you'd swell up like a balloon. So where in the world does it all go? The answer is pretty amazing.
Okay, to really get this, let's use a simple analogy. Think of your blood circulation as the body's main highway system. It's this high-pressure network of arteries and veins just constantly delivering oxygen and nutrients everywhere they need to go. Your lymphatic system, though, it's the essential but often forgotten support crew. It's your drainage system, your cleanup crew, and your security patrol, all rolled into one.
So let's start with those main roads, right? To see how these two systems are such perfect partners, we first got to do a quick refresher on the highways themselves, our blood vessels.
Now, this highway system basically has 2 types of roads. You've got arteries, which need these thick, muscular walls to handle all that high-pressure blood getting pumped away from the heart. And then you have the veins, which carry the blood back under low pressure, so their walls can be a bit thinner. It's a really smart design, but the real magic, the real action, happens where these 2 roads meet.
So let's zoom in, way in, down to the microscopic level where these systems actually connect. We're talking about the tiniest little side streets in this whole network, the capillaries. And this is the one place where the highway is actually designed to be a little leaky.
You see, as blood rushes into a capillary from an artery, the pressure from the heart's pump is still pretty high. This force, it's called hydrostatic pressure, literally squeezes fluid, all that good stuff, like oxygen and nutrients, right out of the capillaries and into the tissue to feed your cells.
Okay, but as the blood keeps moving along that tiny capillary, the pressure starts to drop. And now a completely different force takes over. The proteins that were left behind in the blood act like tiny little sponges, creating what's called osmotic pressure. And this force pulls most of that fluid right back into the vessel, and it brings all the waste products along with it.
But here is the absolute key to this whole story. It's not a perfect exchange. About 85% of the fluid gets pulled back in, sure, but that leaves 15% behind in the tissues. And that 15%, well, that adds up to those 3 liters we were talking about. This is the fluid that's been left behind and is in desperate need of a rescue.
And believe me, that rescue mission is critical, because if that leftover fluid isn't drained away, it just builds up and up, causing a condition called edema, swelling in the tissues. This is exactly what happens when the body's drainage system just can't keep up.
So how does that lost fluid get home? Well, it's time to meet the hero of our story, the lymphatic cleanup crew. This is where that second parallel circulation system finally springs into action.
The moment that leftover tissue fluid gets collected by the lymphatic system's tiny vessels, it actually gets a new name. It's now called lymph. It's basically just recycled blood plasma, and its long journey back to the bloodstream has just begun.
Now, the path home is strictly a one-way street. The lymph first enters these tiny capillaries, then it moves into bigger collecting vessels. From there, it has to pass through filters called lymph nodes. After that, it gathers in even larger trunks before, finally, it gets returned to the blood through 2 big ducts.
But wait a second, there's no heart pumping the lymph, right? So how does it move, especially against gravity? Well, the body has 3 really clever tricks up its sleeve. Every time you move, your muscles literally squeeze the lymphatic vessels, pushing the fluid along. Every time you take a breath, the pressure changes in your chest helps suck the fluid upward. And to top it all off, a whole series of one-way valves make sure the lymph can only ever move forward. So simple, but it's incredibly effective.
Okay, now for one of the most critical parts of this story, because the lymphatic system isn't just a plumber. No, it's also your body's highly sophisticated security force.
Remember those lymph nodes the fluid has to pass through? I want you to think of them as high-tech security checkpoints. Before any of that lymph is allowed back into your blood, it's forced to trickle through these nodes, which are just jam-packed with immune cells that are constantly scanning for any threats. We're talking bacteria, viruses, even cancerous cells.
And inside these checkpoints, you've got your immune system's elite special forces. You've got T cells, the direct attackers that hunt down and destroy infected cells. You've got B cells, which can turn into little antibody factories. And then you've got macrophages, the big eaters, that literally gobble up any invaders or cellular junk they find.
So,
We've seen how the lymphatic system handles the fluid and the security. But for this partnership to really work, the main highway system also needs to be able to manage its own traffic with incredible precision. So let's take a quick look at how it controls blood flow.
So what really controls blood flow? I mean, things like how thick your blood is or how long a vessel is, they have a small impact. But just look at the massive, outsized effect of the vessel's radius, its width. A tiny little change in how wide a blood vessel is has this powerful, overwhelming influence on how much blood gets through.
And the body's traffic cops for this job are the smallest arteries, called arterioles. They can squeeze tight or constrict to reduce blood flow, or they can open up, dilate to increase it. This is exactly how your body can brilliantly reroute blood away from your stomach and send it to your muscles the second you start exercising. It is dynamic, real-time traffic control. And now let's bring it all together and finally complete the circle. We've collected the fluid, we've cleaned it, we've checked it for any bad guys. It is finally time to send it home.
So the final step is, well, it's surprisingly weird. It's not symmetrical at all. About 75% of all the lymph in your body, we're talking your entire lower body and the whole left side, drains back into the bloodstream through one single large vessel, the thoracic duct. It's only the upper right part of your body that uses that smaller right lymphatic duct.
And there we have it. The 3 liters of lost fluid are cleaned, filtered, and then safely returned to the bloodstream right near the heart, ready to start the whole journey all over again. The puzzle is solved, and the cycle is complete.
This unbelievably elegant partnership is happening inside you right this second, keeping your fluids in balance and defending you from countless threats. So it makes you wonder, what happens when this delicate partnership breaks down?